Do you know how much money was spent in 2021 to administer and distribute the STAR test? $388 million. And do you know how many times it's changed the way it was given since then? 3 times. I believe that standardized testing is ridiculous. I feel like it's doing more harm than good for our kids in the long run. And I want to talk about how is affecting students and teachers, why it's happening, and what's being done to fix the problem. I remember when I took the TAKS test. I graduated 2014, so I was the last group of kids who actually took the TAKS test, I believe, before they changed it over to STAR. And while I don't remember much of the TAKS test, I do remember the panic. I panicked because I didn't think I was going to move on to the next grade, and then I panicked because I didn't think I was going to be able to graduate with my class. A blog ran by Johnson Michael, who runs Tinny Tutors, says the TAKS test came under scrutiny from the TEA as being too easy, so they decided to replace the test with a more up-to-date assessment, STAR. So the TEA, the Texas Education Association, felt that the TAKS test was too easy and our kids were falling behind, so they upgraded the test and made it harder. This is actually causing much more panic than I remember having whenever I took the test. It's causing a fight or flight response in these kids. They're wanting to opt out. They would rather stay home. They get so stressed, they get sick. And it's not just the students struggling; it's also the teachers. They are actually struggling to give these tests. An article American University wrote that teachers are teaching to test, not teaching to teach a broader curriculum. So they're only teaching so these kids can pass this test. They're not teaching because that's what their passion is. They're not teaching because they want these kids to learn anything they're going to take with them. They're teaching to pass a test. In 2022, a Texas education poll said that 91% of Texans recognize the pressure that standardized testing is 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 challenging for teachers. So we can see that not only is it a lot of pressure for our students, it's a lot of pressure on the teachers as well. A lot of this is happening because STAR is actually not being graded correctly. Um, Texas AFT blog says that reading passages have been judged to be 2 or 3 years ahead of the tested grade level based on independent readability tests, including the Lexile scale, meaning that a test that was given to a second grader is actually at a reading level of a fifth grade level, which is harder for these kids to understand because they're being tested on something they don't quite comprehend yet, which is very unfair. Um, Standardized testing, colleges don't look at these tests, so I feel like that's also another reason why it's not fair because when you get into higher education, what you did on your STAR doesn't matter. Um, it's also giving unrealistic expectations because of this. Kids can't walk around, they can't speak, they can't do anything really. They're timed, um, and I feel like the STAR test is actually timed. It's actually shorter, a shorter time frame for them to be able to get the testing done versus when I had the TAKS test. Um, it doesn't give them an accurate representation of what you're going to go through whenever you get up to college. Um, in Wichita Falls, there was a news article. The superintendent of the Wichita Falls ISD says that they hope that House Bill 4 will change the way the test is given. They're hoping that they'll shorten the test altogether and prioritize post-secondary preparation. So they hope that they'll actually focus on getting these kids ready to go on to the next grades and then go on to college. Um, Donnie Lee, who's the superintendent of Wichita Falls ISD, said that the No Child Left Behind Act was overemphasized on standard testing and actually was a complete disaster. He says that they would like to see a better structure for the test, having one at the beginning, in the middle, and the end of the year so they can accurately see where kids are falling behind versus having a giant test at the end of the year where kids could be having a bad day. There's a lot of articles and statistics about why these tests are bad and why they're hurting our students. We can see that it's not only affecting just the students and the teachers, but also the state as well, because the state is shilling out all this money for a test that's not doing what they thought it would. Um, I would like that these tests would disappear, and I can assume others would too, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. It looks like they're changing, but who is it really benefiting at the end of it all?